That's a lot of love. Good morning. My mission today will be to tell you a few stories, real stories about cybersecurity, which relates to computers and phones and so on. But my dream would be that at the end of the day, besides acknowledging that you understood the stories and you liked them, I would like to know that you actually took action on the downsides of cybersecurity and the things that happen. For instance, you already know who I am. I've been introduced. Thank you, Marcus. There's also a section on the website, so you already know my name, and you already knew prior to coming here that I will be presenting here. But do you think there's a slight chance that I know who you are? People are tweeting, hashtag TEDx. You joined the Facebook event, so I know about 500 people joined there. I know exactly how they look like. I don't have such a good memory, but if I would brag that I recognize you all and so on. So we already have a connection. I already know stuff about you, and if I would be a person that I would want to do bad things with you, in a financial way, I would be able to do so. So let's get started. Before we go to the ahead of time section, I'd like to see who recognizes that particular car. Okay, fair amount. Which means that you've been practically being conceived around the 80s, and you probably had the computer around the 90s, if I'm right. Which will make my job easier, because before we get to know the future, let's look a bit at the past, at the present, and then we'll look at the future. So during the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, computer security was a bit different, but the ones that had a computer in the 90s remember the downsides of having your computer infected with a virus. I'm pretty sure the average recipe was reinstall everything from scratch and start over, because viruses back then, they had a single purpose: showing you that you're stupid and showing to the guy that wrote it how smart he is. And they were showing you how stupid you are by deleting your files, infecting your computer, infecting your friends' computers, and so on. And this is not only to consumers, to you guys, even to companies. Imagine doing software development, working on a project for a month, and then this stupid virus comes in and destroys everything. And you have to do it all over again. And that's why most of the security companies started within the 90s, because there was no protection and there were plenty of viruses, or malware, how we call it. Also, since we're in Romania, we were the best victims. Because Bulgaria, Ukraine, and Russia were large producers of malware. And since the internet was at its beginnings, viruses traveled geographically. In other terms, by floppy disk. For those youngsters here, it's like a graphic design, a 3D model of the save icon. That's the floppy drive. And you used to carry data with that. All right. Wrong way. For all the ladies in the house, this is what hackers look like. And even though it might not seem so, from this distance I have a six-pack as well. For all the young engineers that do not get too much love, this is how they'll look in the adulthood, so don't worry about it. There's no stress there. This is what's happening today. We have good hackers and bad hackers. But before actually categorizing them in good and bad, let's look at the definition of a hacker. A hacker is a very smart and curious person, thank you, that wants to make a thing that was designed to do something else. For instance, making a coffee machine, doing whiskey. Or making your smart car, baking eggs, whatever, stupid examples, but making something do what it's supposed to do something else. Like making your computer be their computer in their language. So there's these hackers, smart people around the world, and as in the real life, in the cyber world, you can turn good or bad. I've seen hackers making $1.5 million in a week. It would take me probably a week to count them as well. And I've seen hackers making much less money, but without sleeping with the risk of being arrested the next day. Us, the good hackers, we're showing companies where they have security issues so the company can fix themselves. The bad guys just make a lot of money, which, if they manage to spend them or not, that will be their business. But let's look at the ones, wrong way again. Statistically speaking, 10% of the guys here right now already had a date with a thing called ransomware. Don't be shy. All right, I'll tell you anyway. Ransomware is a computer virus designed by nowadays hackers, the bad guys, that once they infect your computer, they encrypt your files, everything what's in there. And they will ask an amount of money between $400 and $1,000 to get your files back. Right now you're thinking, yeah, right, like I'm going to pay. Sir, let's say you're the VP of marketing in a big company. You're rich. $400 is peanuts for you. Tomorrow you have one of the most important board meetings. You have to do a summary of the KPIs you had and the projection for the next year. So you're Googling, looking for cute pictures, pie charts, and then you get this message saying all your files are encrypted. You need to pay $550 to get them back. Statistically speaking, there's a 50% chance you will pay. And by the studies we did, the people actually pay. Even though somewhere around the world there'll be some good hacker saying, I cracked this. You can use this free tool to get your files back. Your first reaction is to pay. And I've seen personally in investigations hackers making $1.5 million in a week. These are the modern hackers. They're rich. As stated, they look pretty good. Let's move on. Let's go to political hackers. This person was hired for different political parties to spy on the other parties. So let's say we would look about the recent debate, Hillary versus Trump. Imagine Hillary hiring this guy so she will know in advance every speech that Trump will make, set up thousands of social media accounts saying that Trump must not be elected. I think that's happening. And all that kind of stuff. So the thing is, the downsides, although he made a lot of money, he's now in jail. And you can imagine that there's a lot of people out there trying to get him killed. So now he sleeps, like it says on the quote, with a bulletproof blanket, under a bulletproof blanket in a bomb-proof room. People really want to kill him. Let's carry on. Nope. You see, the internet, as you know it, is a very interesting and fun place. It's useful. You have a lot of information. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do there. What you don't know, it's about the hidden internet, which we call the dark net or the dark web, which is like the underground economy for all the hackers, for the bad hackers, where they sell drugs, where they sell weapons, pornographic material. And this is the transition between the digital world and the real world. This is where they actually sell crime services. You want to beat somebody? There's a price here, you just pay it. They're going to wear a GoPro while they do it, and they're going to send you the movie as an evidence. So then you can pay them. This is real. I'm smiling because I have to smile because I'm on a stage, but this is actually real. And you can see bombing, public person, family, 1-2 bodyguards, and so on. Now, the sick justice of it is that if you want to beat a child pornographer or a rapist, you get a 50% discount. It's sick, but it's sort of a justice in a way. All right, but remember the shootings that we've seen in Germany and France this year? This is where they got some of the weapons. You go to this dark web, you purchase a weapon, it's fully anonymous, nobody will know who you are, nobody will know how much you spent, and you get the weapon delivered home, either in a computer case or in a toy, and so on. Things are real. Now, this is Stuxnet. Stuxnet was discovered publicly in 2010, and it's probably the first cyber weapon ever discovered. Its purpose was to explode a nuclear facility in Iran. From the digital world, where we look at things like computers, yada, 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 I don't really much understand, blowing up a power plant with a computer virus. This is the world I live in, and trust me, it's a very interesting, but then again, dangerous world. And now, I've showed you the past, I've showed you the present, let's look at the future. The Internet of Things, or as you look at it, things are devices that you have on you right now, which connect to the Internet. Let's make the following exercise. I have my business phone, I have my personal phone, I have this thing here that I can control computers with my gesture, which connects to the Internet. I have this other thing here that measures my health activity, including beats per minute and steps and so on. These are all things that are connected to the net, and they live in your network. And even though you think you know what they're doing, sometimes by being in your network and being so close to you, people can take control over them. According to different statistics, there's going to be between 25 and 50 billion such devices in the world by 2020. Now, let's presume now we're about 8 billion, maybe we're going to be about 10 billion by 2020. So that's about 5 devices per person. And nowadays, everybody's trying to launch their product. Nobody's looking at security. And security in most Internet of Things devices right now is a joke. And if you don't believe me, I have 2 examples here. Crabs on Security is a blog of a well-known security blogger. Past month, he was attacked by a Ddos attack. A Ddos attack means that there's so many computers trying to reach your website that your website can no longer respond, or your server can no longer respond. And the amount of traffic was about 500, 600 gigabytes per second. May I call you a server for the first next 10 seconds? I'm going to use him as an example, so sorry for calling you a server. This is a hard drive. That's about 500 gigabytes. So the DDoS attack would be throwing this at his head every second and seeing how long he's going to last. That's a DDoS attack. The same thing happened this Friday. The same botnet, which is like millions of infected devices that do the same thing at once, managed to put out of service Twitter, Spotify, and another 6% of the Forbes 500 companies. You know what devices were infected? Yeah, I have a lot of things in my pants. This is a security camera, right? This device was among the millions that put down part of the Internet this Friday. This, routers, and other Internet of Things devices. This is the problem, and this is the world we're living in now, and that's the security things we're going to face in the next years. Another example, how about your fridge sending spam? For instance, you just put stuff in it, and you think everything is cool and safe and so on, but in the meantime, your fridge is spamming half the world, selling some sort of enlargement pills, and somebody's making money through your fridge. Yeah, maybe it's not that important, but who here is a parent? Fair enough. Do you have baby monitors? I'm scaring you already, right? These are devices connected to the Internet that monitor your kid. You can picture what the scenarios. I don't have to say anything about it. Anyways, that's about it from my talk. There is hope. Us and other people, the good hackers, you can call me Tor, are working for solutions, looking for solutions. We have a solution. Other people will follow. So you don't need to despair. What I'm trying to, and I'm going to start with the beginning one more time. I hope at the end of the day you'll realize the world we live in, the hidden cyber world. And next time you're going to use a stronger password. You're going to look at your IoT device, and they usually ship from China with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 default password. It's not a joke. They do. There's these things called smart locks, which you can lock the door of the house with your phone. Well, the thing is, there's been a test on 5 on such devices. 4 of them can be unlocked by a hacker in a very easy way. The 5th one was very, very secure, but you can actually open it with a screwdriver. So that's redundancy. Thank you very much.